If you have 12 AI tabs open, 3 prompt guides saved, and still cannot use AI to finish one real task tonight, you are not behind. You are missing a map. Here is the quiet problem. You can watch AI content for hours and still not build one skill you can use tomorrow. So this video is not a promise that you will master AI in 16 minutes. It is a practical map for learning the part that matters first, then turning it into one repeatable workflow. You are behind a map, not the whole field. The reason AI feels overwhelming is not only that the technology is moving fast, it is also that every update arrives as if it deserves your immediate attention. A new model, a new agent, a new image tool, a new AI workflow that looks effortless in a demo. If you try to learn AI by following every launch, you will always feel late. So start with the calmer truth. AI is mainstream enough to matter, but not mature enough that everyone else has secretly figured it out. Stanford's 2026 AI Index reports that generative AI reached 53% population adoption within 3 years. It also reports that over 80% of US high school and college students now use AI for school-related tasks. That is fast. It means AI is no longer a side topic for only technical people. But the same reality has another side. McKinsey's 2025 State of AI survey found that 88% of organizations report regular AI use in at least one business function. But nearly 2/3 of respondents say their organizations have not begun scaling AI across the enterprise. Only 39% report any enterprise-level EBIT impact from AI use. So yes, AI is spreading, but no, most people are not calmly operating at some advanced level while you are standing outside the building. Many people are experimenting. Many teams are piloting. Many workers are using AI for a few tasks, then discovering the harder questions. What should we use it for? What should we trust? What should we review? And where does it actually save time? That gap is the whole video. AI is easy to touch now. It is still hard to turn into dependable work. So the question is not, have I tried AI? The question is, can I use AI in a way I can repeat, check, and trust? That is the gap you should learn into, not the gap between you and every AI engineer. The gap between random usage and repeatable skill. If you understand that, the feeling changes. You are not trying to catch every headline. You are trying to build a way of learning that still works when the tool names change. The beginner AI loop is simple. Task, context, check, repeat, learn the layers, not the lore. The first layer is a basic map of the field. You do not need a machine learning degree to use AI well, but you do need enough vocabulary to stop treating every AI tool like the same thing in a different wrapper. Artificial intelligence is the broad category. IBM describes AI as technology that lets computers and machines simulate things like learning, problem-solving, decision-making, creativity, and autonomy. Machine learning is one major way modern AI works. Systems learn patterns from data instead of relying only on handwritten rules. Deep learning is a powerful kind of machine learning that helps with messy data like language, images, sound, and code. Generative AI is the layer most people now meet first. It creates text, images, audio, video, code, summaries, plans, and other outputs. Do not memorize those as trivia. Treat them as warning labels. A spam filter, a recommendation system, a translation app, an image generator, and a chatbot can all be AI, but they do not fail the same way. They do not need the same instructions. They do not belong in the same kind of task. That matters because beginners often judge the entire field from one chatbot answer. If the answer is impressive, AI feels like magic. If the answer is wrong, AI feels useless. Both reactions are too broad. The better question is, what kind of system am I using and what kind of task am I giving it? That is enough for the first layer. Learn the map just far enough that it changes your next choice, because the map only matters when it stops you from practicing the wrong thing. Learn tasks before tools. Once you have orientation, the next mistake is tool chasing. This is where a lot of beginners lose weeks. They try one writing tool, then one image tool, then 3 meeting note tools, then an agent demo, then a browser extension, then a new model comparison. It feels like learning. Often, it is just sampling. A better approach is to learn AI by task category. Start with 5 categories. First, generation. Asking AI to draft something. An email, a video outline, a product description, a customer reply, a first version of a plan. Second, transformation. Turning one format into another, long notes into summary, rough bullet points into a memo, a messy transcript into next steps. Third, analysis. Asking AI to find patterns, compare options, cluster customer feedback, or identify gaps in an argument. Fourth, planning. Using AI to break a project into steps, build a checklist, create a schedule, or think through dependencies. Fifth, automation triage. Not full automation yet, just asking. Which parts of this repeated task could be assisted, which parts need human review, and which parts should not be automated? This is more useful than learning tool names because tool names change. The task categories travel with you. Imagine a marketer who spends an hour comparing 3 AI writing apps. At the end, they still do not know whether a title fits their audience. Now imagine the same marketer chooses one task. Generate 10 title options for one video. Then evaluate them against the audience, promise, thumbnail tension, and search intent. That second person is learning AI. Not because they found the perfect tool, but because they are building judgment around a real task. So if you want to learn AI this week, do not ask, which tool should I learn? Ask, which task category would actually help my work? Then choose one. Prompting is context design. Once the task is clear, prompting becomes much easier. The internet often makes prompting sound like secret wording. Say this phrase, use this formula, add this magic instruction. Some prompt patterns are useful, but the beginner skill is simpler. Prompting is context design. OpenAI's prompting fundamentals emphasize clear instructions, helpful context, the ideal output, and iteration. That is not a trick. It is how you brief another person when you want good work. A weak prompt says, write me a follow-up email. The AI can answer, but it has to guess almost everything. Who is the email for? What happened before? What tone fits the relationship? What should the email avoid? What is the next action? A stronger prompt says, write a short follow-up email for a freelance designer after sending a proposal to a small business owner. The owner cares about speed but is worried about cost. Keep the tone friendly, not pushy. Mention that the proposal has 2 package options. End with one simple question. That prompt is not better because it is longer. It is better because it contains the missing situation. Here is the beginner prompting loop. Task, context, constraints, example, output, review. What do you want done? What background does the tool need? What boundaries should it follow? What good example can it imitate? What format should it return? How will you review it? If you only memorize prompt templates, you are copying someone else's situation. If you learn context design, you can adapt AI to your own situation. That is the difference between a prompt hack and a transferable skill. But a better prompt creates a better draft, not a final truth. This is the beginner trap. Once the answer sounds polished, your brain wants to relax. That is exactly when the next skill begins. Evaluation is the skill most beginners skip. This is the part that feels less exciting, but matters more than people think. You need to learn how to check AI output. This is where beginners either become useful or just lucky. Picture 3 people using AI on the same day. A student asks it to summarize an article. A teacher asks it to draft a class activity. A freelancer asks it to write a client email. In all 3 cases, the first draft can sound clean. But clean is not the same as correct. The summary can miss the author's actual argument. the lesson can be too hard for the class. The client email can promise a timeline the freelancer cannot meet. AI can produce something fluent before it produces something trustworthy. A summary can sound clean and still miss the most important exception. A report can include a number that needs verification. A customer reply can sound professional and still use the wrong policy. A strategy memo can look organized and still be based on assumptions you never gave it. The serious world does not treat AI as type and trust. NIST's AI risk management framework exists because AI systems have to be evaluated, measured, and managed in context. You do not need to run a formal governance program for every personal task, but the principle matters. Your job is not to fear every output. Your job is to know what kind of checking the output requires. Use 3 checks. First, truth check. Are there facts, names, numbers, dates, policies, legal claims, medical claims, financial claims, or source-dependent statements? If yes, verify them. Second, fit check. Does the answer fit your audience, your goal, your style, and the actual situation? This is where many polished AI answers fail. They are not wrong in general. They are wrong for this person, this customer, this viewer, this decision. Third, consequence check. If this answer is wrong, what happens? If the downside is small, you can use AI more freely for drafts and options. If the downside affects a client, a payment, a public claim, a legal issue, or someone else's decision, slow down. That is not anti-AI. That is how useful AI work happens. The better you get at evaluation, the less you need to panic about new tools. You can test them. You can compare them. You can reject outputs without feeling impressed by the polish. Prompts help you ask. Evaluation helps you know whether the answer is worth using. Practice 1, repeatable workflow. The final layer is repeat, not a giant course. Not 100 saved videos. 1 repeated task. The World Economic Forum's 2025 Future of Jobs Skills Outlook points to AI and big data, technological literacy, analytical thinking, creative thinking, resilience, and curiosity as important future-facing skills. Even Microsoft's 2026 Work Trend Index, which surveyed 20,000 AI-using knowledge workers across 10 markets, points toward repeatable AI practices rather than occasional experimentation. For a beginner, do not turn that into a corporate strategy project. Turn it into 1 weekly assignment. For the next 7 days, pick 1 recurring task and run the same learning cycle. Here's the simplest version. Pick 3 sources on a topic you actually care about. They can be articles, reports, class readings, customer reviews, meeting notes, or your own saved research. Ask AI to summarize each source in 5 bullets. Then ask it to compare the sources. Where do they agree? Where do they disagree? Which claims need checking? Now do the human part. Open the original sources, check the numbers, check the dates, check whether the summary changed the meaning. If it is a class reading, check whether the AI missed the author's actual argument. If it is customer feedback, check whether one loud complaint is being treated like a pattern. If it is meeting notes, check whether the AI invented agreement where there was only discussion. Then write 1 final paragraph yourself. Here is what I believe. Here is what I still need to verify. Here is the next action. Save the prompt, save the checklist. Run it again next week. That practice teaches something no prompt list can teach. It shows you where AI is good at structure, where it is weak at accountability, and where your judgment still has to enter the room. The task can be small. That is the point. A small repeated task teaches you more than a giant tool tour because it forces every layer to show up. You define the task. You provide context. You check the output. You repeat the cycle. After 7 days, you will know more than you knew from watching 7 random tutorials because you will have evidence from your own work. You will know where AI helped. You will know where it was generic. You will know which instructions improved the output. You will know which parts still required your judgment. That is AI learning, not hype, not panic, not memorizing every model name. Task, context, check, repeat, That is practice that produces judgment. So if you feel behind, do not measure yourself against the speed of the AI news cycle. Measure yourself against the learning behavior. Do you understand the basic layers well enough to know what kind of tool you are using? Can you choose one task category instead of chasing every app? Can you give the AI enough context to produce something useful? Can you check the output for truth, fit, and consequence? Can you repeat one task long enough to learn from it? If the answer is yes, you are not behind. You are building the skill that survives the next tool launch, and if the answer is no, that is fine. Now you know where to start. Pick one recurring task this week. Run the cycle. Task, context, check, repeat. Keep what works. Fix what fails. Ignore the rest for now. Because the people who learn AI well are not the people who chase every update. They are the people who turn the update into better judgment. And the next question is simple. Which AI workflow should you practice first?